How's it going, guys? Terminal Pixel here. Sit down for a moment and let me tell you a story. The year was 2015. People were losing their shit over a rat taking some pizza, the masterpiece known as Fallout 4 had just come out, and Scott Cawthon released 4 games in the span of a year because he's a fucking psychopath in the best way possible. But little did we know, one of the all-powerful primordial beings known only as a dog was about to release a game that would soon become one of my favorites of all time. And also one of my least favorite fandoms of all time. I'm of course talking about Undertale. A game by Toby Fox, Undertale quickly became one of the most beloved indie games of all time due to its interesting story, compelling characters, and funny bone man. All this combined came together to make an amazing game. So with that said, let's take a look at Earthbound. Undertale. Once upon a time, monsters and humans coexisted in harmony. That is until one day when the humans decided to seal away the monsters with the power of magic racism. From then on, the monsters were stuck in Mount Ebott, their only hope of escaping being the 7 Chaos Emeralds, 7 human souls. Fast forward to whenever Mega Man takes place, you are a child, specifically this child. And oops, you fell into the underground. So equipped with nothing but a stick, an iron will to survive, and a concussion, it is our job to escape the underground however we can. And you know what? I think it's gonna be a breeze. I mean, just look at this cute little flower. I mean, nothing can go wrong from here. You know, I feel as if I walked right into this one. But all is fine, because we're swiftly saved by the Guardians of the Ruins, Toriel. After showing us around the ruins for a bit, she teaches us about one of the most unique aspects of this game, the battling system. Most games would just have you kill your enemies. I mean, it's not like they have a family that you know of. But Undertale saw that and said, you know what? What if you could beat the shit out of your enemies, but with your feelings? That's where the mercy mechanic comes in. While battling, you have 2 options on how to approach a fight. You could kill your foes, if you're an unfeeling monster. I'm looking at you, Noah. You know who you are, you son of a bitch. Or you could spare them, because all the monsters in this game deserve love and protection. So if you decide to spare a monster, you first have to perform some specific actions to pacify them. This ranges from flirting, to petting, to verbal abuse. You know, friendly things. Do keep in mind though, whether you fight or spare the monster you encounter will have an effect on the gameplay and story. Fighting will earn you G, the game's currency, and EXP. Once you have enough EXP, your LV or love will increase, which increases your health and attack. But sparing a monster will take up a lot more time and will only give you G, meaning that you won't level up. At this point you're probably thinking, but Pixel, I just want to kill everything. Like the psychopath I know you are. Well, try to suppress your murder bonus for now, because I'm about to get into my favorite part about this game, the characters. Undertale's a game that relies heavily on its characters and dialogue, and for good reason. A mechanic like the mercy system needs likable characters in order for it to feel worth doing. Part of the fun of sparing a monster is just getting to interact with them and learn about this wide cast of characters, some of which include Eco-Terrorist, Goat Mom, Astral Depression, Ness, Skeletor. Not fucking you, Jerry! Good Boy, Best Boy, Scraggy, yes, Master Oogway. If The Shape of Water was an action movie, your typical Yowie fan, a TI-84 with attitude, capitalism, gay, Goat Dad, Eco-Terrorist the sequel, Eco-Terrorist the prequel, and of course we can't forget the Duck. Each character is just so charming and lovable, and if you hurt Papyrus, I will fucking annihilate you. With every encounter, whether it's a main or minor character, you really just feel their personality shining through. I found myself getting attached to every monster right away, except for you, Jerry. You can really tell that the devs spent a lot of time fleshing out all the monsters you encounter on your journey. Although, as I mentioned before, how you approach a fight with a monster will affect how the game plays out, so that means we're gonna have to talk about him. As you're making your way through Asgore's castle, you'll meet Sans in the castle corridor, where he judges you based on who you spared and who you killed. Now, usually this isn't that bad. I mean, most judgments are just him being like, hey kid, you did pretty good, here's a lollipop. Then there's the ones that go something along the lines of, I fucking hate your guts and I hope you burn in hell for the rest of eternity. But he never really tries to stop you from getting to Asgore, unless you're doing a genocide route. Undertale is a game with a lot of endings, with there being 3 separate prominent paths that you can take. You can go the neutral route, which is just killing monsters and sparing others. You can go the pacifist route, which is just sparing every monster you see. Or you could do the genocide route, where you have to go out of your way to kill monsters. As you can imagine, Sans isn't exactly cool with that happening, so he decides to take matters into his own hands. I'd like to explain, but I think it's better if I just show you. Yeah, sure, weakest monster, my ass. His fight is easily the hardest in the game. And while yes, he is technically the weakest monster, being able to only do 1 damage to the player, what makes it so hard is that Sans' fight also introduces a new mechanic known as Karma, which means once you get hit, you won't get any invincibility frames, meaning you're hit every single millisecond by 1 damage. As you can imagine, that racks up pretty fast, but not only that, it leaves a poison effect that slowly drains your health over time. So if you somehow get past that shit, you make it over to Asgore, kill him, kill the flower, and then you meet Kara, and then you're forced to erase the timeline, and then there's nothing. But who is this mysterious child, I hear you not asking because this game has been out for 6 years? Well, to fully understand it, we have to look at the pacifist route. So let's say you decide to be nice and spare everyone you come across. Once again, you make your way up to the corridor, Sans pats you on the head, and like before, you go to fight Asgore. Only this time you're able to spare him, and then everything is okay. Plot twist, the real evil was the flower. Who would have fucking guessed it? Now possessing the power of the 6 human souls, Flowey unlocks a yearly subscription to Adobe Photoshop. And whatever the fuck this is happens. This is Omega Flowey, a being made of pure determination, chaos, and whatever the hell that's supposed to be. But as you're thoroughly getting your skull caved in by Flowey, we see that the human souls start rebelling against Flowey and helping us. And then it works. Until it doesn't. Until it does. And Flowey is once again left as a flower. We spare him, he leaves, and we get a call from all the monsters we met in our adventure. If you're wondering what the hell is going on, don't worry. I don't know either. Then out of nowhere, we're visited by Flowey again, who tells us there's a way to get a better ending, hinting that we should spend more time with Alphys. And just like that, we're thrust right back into the underground. So this part of the script is getting somewhat long, so I'm just gonna summarize what happens really quick. Aw, look at them, that's adorable. After that fucking nightmare, we make our way back to Asgore, but instead of fighting him, the poor guy gets chewed out by his ex-wife. And everyone's here. Okay, this time I really feel like things are going okay. I gotta stop doing this. Flowey then absorbs not only the human souls, but every single monster soul in the underground, which gives him the power to turn into a furry. This happens to be Azrael, Flowey's true form and the former prince of the underground. At some point during our thorough ass beating, we begin to slowly save all of our friends and finally defeat Azrael. Azrael then reveals that we're not actually a child, but a different child. So, going back to Kara, they were a human that fell into the underground and were adopted by the royal family, that being Toriel, Asgore, and Azrael. But everything gets fucked over one day when Kara eats some poisonous flowers and Azrael absorbs her soul in an elaborate plan to escape the underground. And the second he gets out of the underground, all the humans are like, "Oh god, a furry!" And he is dead. And now come to his senses, Azrael uses all the souls to break the barrier once and for all, freeing all the monsters, thus ending Undertale. Altogether, Undertale is an amazing game. From its interesting take on RPG elements to its charming characters, it still holds up even 6 years later. In my opinion, it's truly cemented itself as a timeless classic. With that said, I have some other videos I need to be working on, particularly one that I am really not looking forward to making. So stay tuned for that. See you then.